Good evening and welcome everyone to the Rusty's Brosis YouTube channel. This is the KCJC Sports Talk. I'm your host, Kenute Connell, and my co-host is...
Yeah, John, JC Campbell, live and direct from Kingston, Jamaica.
Also joining us is our special guest this evening, who is Mr. Roderick Miles, head track and field coach of Brosis High School, and also former coach of world champions, medalist Danielle Thomas Dodd and Rochelle Clayton. Roderick, our Coach Miles, welcome to the Rusty's Brosis Sports Talk Show.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
John, so what's going on in Sports Buzz today?
Boy, so many things going on, but I don't want to take up too much of our valuable time with our most worthy guest.
Yeah.
But I was about to start with Boys Champs, we're still basking in the glory of having staged what I want to say a successful champs minus the usual crowds. But everything seemed to have gone well. I have not heard of any upsurge in COVID-19 cases. so I want to say that that went well, But yeah, has been the main thing. I also know that I have to talk cricket, a little cricket, right? Because I know that there's a series coming up soon, and I was looking at the list of players selected for the upcoming thing, and I noticed that they brought in back Mr. Gale. I don't know if you saw that. They brought in Mr. Gale.
Right? Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, but people are saying, so the question is, this is a big man. As far as sport is concerned, they said Gale is a big man now and he's getting a little bit old and so on. So people are, wondering if he should have been on the team or not. My one perspective is that, listen, if you can perform, no matter what your age is, if you can perform, you be there and so on. So I am quite, looking forward to glorious things coming up the line. But what's going on your side, though?
Oh yeah, I was I just got to make sure that we're bringing something that coach is very much into. Yeah, I was on the big thing that I saw right now is there is still some uncertainty about the Tokyo Olympics.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, there's still some uncertainty. It's like 70% of the population is against the Olympics, is saying that the Olympics is supposed to be canceled. And, it's like, because there is increasing cases of the number of coronavirus cases. Right. And so about 70% of the country is under lockdown.
Right.
But, I don't know whether or not this is as a result of them trying to play safe for the Olympics, why they're doing that. But most people do not understand that this is not so much in the hands of Tokyo, because it's a straightforward contract whereby the Olympic Association is the only body that can actually cancel the Olympics, unless there's a joint agreement between the Tokyo Olympic body and the international body, the IAAF. Unless there's a mutual agreement, then they can cancel it. And there is so much to lose as it relates to Japan, because some time ago Japan had a tsunami and also the nuclear disaster that they had. So this is one way of kind of bringing back Japan on the economic scale, based on the fact that they have been experiencing, a real slump in their economy. And then we also have to think about other factors that would be affected indirectly when you think about the fact that there are people who might have spent a lot of money to refurbish hotels and so forth, to welcome the Olympians and also visitors, even though they don't expect to have a lot of visitors, but there would still be people coming in, of course, media and so forth coming in. So right now, if they come to that agreement whereby it's a mutual agreement, then that would fall on the various insurance companies. And you know, there are some who believe that if that happens, that would be the biggest payout in the history of insurance. So right now, you know, when we think about all of those factors, we have to think that it's not going to be canceled, but there are still some uncertainty no matter what.
Mind you, from my understanding, the medical fraternity, the medical doctors themselves, have been voicing their their doubts about hosting the game. So when you have the medical fraternity saying these things, the question is, you know, do you go on with the game or do you cancel the game based on what the medical guys are saying? So it's a big deal. It's no doubt. This is not a joke thing. This is a big deal, you know.
Yeah, but I don't want to labor it any longer. I want to hear Coach Miles, because it's so much that we want to hear from Coach Miles today. Yeah, Coach Miles, like John was saying, you know, despite all the challenges from COVID, the recently concluded National Boys and Girls Championship, in my opinion, was a huge success. You know, tell us about some of the important adjustments that you had to make at Brosis High School, you know, in order to get your team ready for the championship.
One of the main thing is like we would have to cut the team. So like at one point, the minister said that it was just 15. So you have to follow the protocol. I couldn't go above 15. A track team taking way more than that, per se. And also it's like with the gym and those stuff, is like you would have cut the numbers that use gym too. So based on our gym, we couldn't use more than 5 at a time. And maybe more than half our team actually use gym. So it's like it's a lot of adjustment, sanitizing. Each person getting their own mat. Is a entire thing, a whole different thing basically. It's like even when you pack the bus, you can't overpack the bus. Like you actually have to maybe go with a certain numbers. So it was a lot of adjustment. Even from and also a lot of adjustment going into champs. Like budget costs like a bit more because you get less per room. So yes, it's like it's a whole heap of adjustment.
But let me ask you this though, Coach, because one of the things that I was particularly concerned about was, you know, given the lead up to champs, when we would have normally have you know, like development meets and so on and so forth over the time leading up to champs, and with the protocols and the postponement of all kind of meets and so on, how were you able to maintain the should I say the condition of these athletes? You know, was that a challenge in its own right? Because you had to stop sometimes, you had to start again. You wasn't too sure if you were going to continue. You know, how do you maintain? To me, that was like a hell of a challenge.
Well, for me, first of all, is that when I started out, I was not planning for champs. I did not started planning to preparing for champs basically. If you follow most of the interview I've done basically in the paper and even registrations, I was planning more for scholarship. I just think that a lot of youths have give their entire life, entire high school career to this, and it's like they actually want a scholarship. And the second thing, when you look one thing from a global perspective, things is keeping. So it's like I was also planning for World Juniors. So I was not really planning for champs as the first thing. But as for me, also again, it's like it wasn't really a challenge because what happened is like as a coach, if you know how to coach, what you would do is like you would schedule your workout that's on the weekends to compete. So it's like I would still compete on the weekend. So the problem was to get them up to compete against each other. So people like the throwers we normally live loving normally have those type of problems because them normally more closer basically. But the people on the track is like we would train maybe Monday to Thursday and then we just rest Friday and come on a Saturday morning and just compete until 12. So you keep them sharp basically. I guess maybe what some coach has done is that they continue training. As like when I think about sports is that if the athlete is not sharp, it don't make a difference about training. So for me, it's like I'm gonna say it's like on the weekends, me just treat it just like I was going to a regular track meet. So like from time to time, is that me invite a school and compete against the school. So things that.
Oh, you actually did that.
You still keep them sharp, basically.
Wow,
yes.
That's quite interesting. That you were able to do, invite schools to have that kind of competition.
Not many schools, just that maybe like a one school. So like maybe like exactly me invite maybe a one school nearby.
Right. Yeah, I understand what you mean. And I'm saying that still is actually, I didn't even know that could have been done.
Yeah,
I know in football you have a practice match and so on. In football or so.
No. What I would look at, you would look at maybe a program that have similar athlete like yours. And it's like, because it wouldn't make sense, like, for example, like with Ryan, we're on 10-4, and it's like you put him in that guy around 11 seconds. It's like, so you look back, because you want, so it makes no sense to invite a person, there's no competition. So you actually look at school and programs that have similar athletes like yours. And so actually, and when I school, they have similar athletes, it was Petersfield. So for example, it's like, there are some events we compete at Brosis. And there are some events at the shows, it's like, because Petersfield don't have 400-meter track, it's like we actually went to Petersfield and competed with the shows by Petersfield.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, coach, it's very interesting that you said that you're not setting goals alone. You're setting objectives, because you prepare for beyond championship. You prepare for bigger outside of the championship, bigger picture, scholarship and so forth. That's very interesting, because I wonder how many other coaches in Jamaica formulate their plan in that way. It's not just something that comes by automatically. It's also formulated in your plan when you start out each year, whether if we started looking from preseason and all the way in. So you set your plan not just for the championship, but beyond the championship. That's very impressive.
Well, one I think just says I have actually have a talk with the late Dennis Johnson. I know that he was a former world record holder. He passed away maybe a couple weeks ago, basically. He was a former world record holder in the 60s for Jamaica and for the 100 meters at the 110 something there.
100 yards.
100 yards. Thank you very much.
Right.
And one I think is like actually I get the privilege to have breakfast with him. Have a long talk about coaching. And one I think he said to me, he said to me that instead of focus on champs, why not focus on preparing some world class athletes? So he gave me that challenge basically, and he's like, and he explained to me why. And he's like, so it's like, he said, prepare some quality athlete. It's like, because in the longer run, it's like, that's what is going to matter. Because like, he give me some history of champs, some school with dominate champs. And it's like, he said people forget them, but it's like, but at the end of the day, those who move on, actually to maybe to Olympics and to World Championship, is like the entire country remember and program actually remember those athletes. So I guess that's how from 2019 is like I've actually take my coaching thing, my coaching goals look a bit different, just preparing people towards world than preparing people just towards championship.
But I'm curious though, because you're dealing with young athletes, adolescents, in fact, and you're mentioning that sometimes your objective is to prepare these athletes, not necessarily for champs, but for beyond champs, for scholarships and so on. I guess my question is though, what would be the significant difference in how you prepare? I mean, because to me, champs is a world-class event, and I'm saying, what would be the major difference in how you prepare for champs vis-a-vis how you prepare for, gaining a scholarship or even performing at Penns or what would be the difference really?
Well, from a long term, sometimes you maybe have an athlete, and you know that you need some endurance, but maybe through your eyes is actually set on champs. Is like I'm performing right away. It's like sometimes like you maybe just push the athlete in a speed. So it's like when you're looking at development, sometimes it takes 3-4 years to actually just say for example the Rhymes. Just say for example Rhymes Scott. we know that he could run the 100-meter from class 3. Nobody have beat him in class 3 going to champs. He was the fastest person going to champs in the 100-meter and 200-meter. But the physio said to me, he said, Mr. Miles, if you force him for the 100-meter, he might losing hip flexors at that early stage. Because you force him in order for him to win. It's like you're putting body through a little bit too much. So what we do, we bring Ryan Scott to 4-2. So you see, look on the longer run, basically. So when another person see Ryan Scott now running the 100-meter, another person says like, why not run the 4? But from a long time, we all know that he's actually a good 100-meter runner.
You have made a very critical point there in terms of the long-term athlete development. In fact, I'll show you that is a relatively new concept that is being practiced now, promoted and practiced in what we call the so-called developed countries, Canada, Australia, the US, European countries, where they're looking at that athlete and they're developing that athlete from the fundamental stages right through to the podium stage, right? It's long-term. What formally, and we, being a member of the Sports Medicine Association, I know this, where coaches used to really drive the athletes because they want to win this 100. You know, the athlete can win the 100, and they push the athlete to win the 100. They push them to win the 2, and maybe even 4 because he can do it. But having done that, that was the end of the athlete. That was the end of the athlete. So I'm really pleased, and I say this, without any hesitation, to hear you say that that excellence takes time.
It take time. And sometimes you have to work on 1 or 2 of the training theory. Better word, maybe I can correct me. But it's like that maybe in like speed endurance for 1 year, and then we go speed, and then we go endurance. It's like, so you have to develop certain things. And sometimes when I think when I do even as a coach too, me expose all the athlete to every discipline. Unless you're a natural distance runner or a natural sprinter. Because you don't know exactly if a person will be a good hurdler, a good jumper, a good whatever. So you expose them at grade 7, you try to expose them to almost everything.
Boy. You don't know how I'm laughing here as you speak, because again, and I invite you, I'm really happy you're talking this, because I'm going to invite you to, when you have time, Google long-term athlete development and see, understand the concept, because exactly what you're saying, even in football, formally, we specialize too quickly.
Yes.
He's a footballer. We specialize too quickly. So in the end, you actually lose athletes. Develop all their skills, all their athletic potential. Let them play volleyball as opposed to football, as opposed to cricket, as opposed to hockey, as opposed to let them do all of that. Sure. And you end up with a better athlete in the end.
More rounded up.
Yep. The footballer.
I'm like, for example, take our greatest athlete, which is Usain Bolt. I'm more sure he could actually play basketball and could a long jump, or he's a total athlete. So the one them exactly. You're a total athlete, basically, right?
Yes. You know who was like that too? Go ahead,
Coach. Yeah, I really like that too, because I see where there's a lot of focus on the maturation of the athlete, and that sometimes is ignored. So in your program, I'm seeing a lot of the scientific part of the athlete development being brought up front also. And there, based on what I'm seeing from you so far, I'm seeing that you have a knowledge of marrying all of these things that are necessary for long-term development of the athlete.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Let me just jump in quickly, because as you're saying this now, I'm thinking, let me back up a little bit, because formerly, Brosis wasn't even considered to be a track and field school. When you say Brosis is going to be football or what else, maybe cricket, maybe whatever, but it was never a track and field school. But now we're seeing the emergence of exceptional talent down there. Is it that you're saying that the more talent exists down there in that area? Is it that you're saying you can actually dig up more talent? And having answered that, the other question is, what would you recommend in terms of the improvement of the, I don't want to say track and field program. Let me test you a little bit. Of the sports program, we're not biased towards track and field, all right, okay. But what would you recommend in terms of improving the general sports program there at Brosis? You know?
Well, as I know, it's like the 2000 and maybe I don't know 2000 when they won the last D Cup. I was a fitness coach, right?
Okay.
When I think is when I just come in is like in 2014, a lot of person was actually saying that it's a football coach, But I said 2,000 people can't play football. It's over 2,000 person there overseas. So there's no way 2,000 person can't play football. That's the first thing. So get that right? And it's like and one I think is that also it's like a lot of people come out of the hills. A lot of great talent come from the parishes. One of the greatest athlete before you see him board, which is Maryland, that they come from the same school. And it's like a number of others too. It's like a lot of person. It was a feeder tree for school in Kingston, like St. Diego and other school of benefit here and do a space. So part of it, is just to invest in that talent. But when I personally actually have to big up because I show a lot of respect to is Denton Campbell. He's the one who was saying that. He's like, why was he not getting a scholarship? Because when he actually just started out, it's like it was about scholarship. It wasn't about winning a Western champs or any champs. What he was saying is like, every school in Jamaica, almost every traditional high school is getting track and field scholarship because it's one of the easiest scholarships to get to go overseas. Right. And he's saying he have to do something. So it's like he's the one who actually come up with the idea. And then Miss Joan Thompson spent a year. And I guess maybe after you go on the first year, because the first year I went to overseas, I've actually won a girl named Stephanie Barrett won the 3,000. And that was the first gold medal. I didn't know. I like after a while I heard about it. It's the first gold medal on the female side. So that was the first year that I've actually went there. Okay. And also they finished top 5. They moved from 22 to top 5 basically in Western champs. So after Limburn writers come on, it's like he said, Mr. Myers, what can we do if you actually win, guys? When I think they expressed to me, so listen, if me win D Cup, it don't make a difference. If me bring something else to the table, that was his thing. It's like because what he said is every principal have one D Cup. So he said let's bring something else to the table. So it's like so he actually set out to actually one Western champs, and after one Western champs, which is 3 years ago, I won it 4 times. It's like he said, what can we do now? And we said let's push for top 5 at champs, which is 2019. So it's actually, I said before, that the talent is there. It's just that you need somebody with a vision. You need somebody like a Peasy Miller. I heard about Peasy Miller. Colin Miller, basically, right name. Somebody who have drive and somebody who excited about the sports and like want to push the sports, basically, and who understand that is like it is an avenue. Because when I think is like when I start to think about it, it's like since 2014, you have almost 30 persons who have gone overseas and full scholarship. Some of these universities are about 45, 50,000 US per year. That's almost 7-8 million Jamaican dollars per year. Yeah. And a number of them also gone to UE and GC faster. So I say before, it's like at the end of the journey, you're sure that there is something for the kids. And there's something to build the past student association, basically. Because sports has proven that when these kids move on, they are more likely to loyal or to give back to their high school than a regular child, because actually there's some form of stuff, basically. Yeah. So within a 10 year, and it's like and if you follow what's going on now, most of those kids like Nia Robinson have jumped 655, Akeem Kali breaking record, Terry Sting, a number of them is actually doing so well overseas. Yeah. And the program is a very young program, just started just 5 years, basically. So as I say, it take a drive from some administrator to know that like, this is what we want and this is where we're going. And because the talent is there, it's like a lot of youth them come from out of hills. Yeah. It's like then climb tree, then run uphill. It's like so they actually know what is it to be athletic, basically. So part of it is not like you're teaching I'm teaching maybe a society child where like maybe just play here from here to there. You talk about a person who naturally go jump off in a river, just like how boat come up, it's like you climb tree, fling ball, just like that. So it's just you for just honest that.
Coach Mal,
Yes.
I want to find out from you, can you kind of let our listeners and viewers know who Denton Campbell is? Because the name sounds familiar, but I don't remember who he is.
He was the former chairman before Mr. Clark.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
the
All right,
chairman.
good.
I think he's also a past student, basically.
Okay.
You,
Yeah, man.
you know, from talking to you, I learned that you're such a humble person. Because if I didn't do my research, I wouldn't know anything about the fact that you used to coach Daniel Thomas Dodd and also Rochelle Clayton. You know, they're medalists. I think Daniel Dodd won silver in the shot put at the World Championship, right?
Yes, and also the first.
And Rochelle Clayton also
Yeah,
in the hurdles, right?
yeah, man. Yes, yeah, yes.
Yeah, so you know, so it's good to know that I can see why we're seeing this kind of result at Rusty's High School, because you've proven this yourself along the line. But I want to know from you, what is the mood at Rusty's right now as it relates to the track and field team? What is the mood at the athletes and also the school itself?
Well, listen, it's like a lot of person excited about the performance last night. The chairman and the principal have us by Grandpa Lidum, Dear and Lucy, and it's like the kids that went. It's like and they actually feel good and appreciated. And says like the entire staff and everybody who we have met have actually been excited, because it is actually a big deal, because when I think it's not just the 70 points, because we have get 70 points before, you know. It's the quality of the performance, because when you have a girl in her first year champion 52 5 ranked top 8 in the world, it's like I think she ranked number 2 last year. It's like it's actually those are the performance you're actually looking for, world stage performance.
Right.
So that's part of it, basically. Yes.
Okay, so now that chance is over, what is the next course of action for the athletes?
Well, I've actually 5 person preparing for the World Juniors. They would have qualified, and they would have ranked maybe within the top 15. The next course, I'm waiting on the principal and maybe the principal, because for me, with any program, the principal is very important. No matter what the chair have to say and the past student, if the principal knows the vision, it will cause a bit of problem, because I'm waiting on the principal to tell me her vision, where she want to go within 2-3 years from this, because over the years is like from I've been there 2014, I was about 3-year plan. We normally meet them within 2 years, but we always set plan, and we now and that's how we rise to the top quickly. Because when I think it's like 2019 was a great achievement, because apart from Mannings in the 90s who are finishing the top 5, there's no other school cracked the top 5. Almost it took us almost, we actually done it within around 30 years, because Veer is the one, Veer, Diego, those teams kind of hold the top 5, right, on the girl side. So
yeah,
it's like, but for that to happen, it was planning. It was people coming together, people working, and I say setting plans and knowing what you need to do in order to achieve these things. So it was not just, I'm gonna say it was an overnight thing and just you're going just buck up on talent and just work. We have actually scored people as far as from Poland, and also from Excelsior High School in Kingston. It's like so I'm from St. Diego too. It's like a number of people leave those schools, come down to Rossi's for a scholarship, and just think it's a better opportunity basically to participate. So what I'm saying is like it was a vision and it was actually a plan.
That is so interesting that you mentioned that. It's the other way around, you know. People coming to Rossi's because of track and so on. That's very interesting. But let me ask you this again, because you know my passion has to do a lot with what is it that we can do to improve the product? What is it that we can do to improve, again, you know, have a progressive improvement as we go along? And I'm thinking here in terms of facilities. Is there any kind of paucity of facilities that you could readily say, you know, if we had something like that, it would be better for us? What is it that you think at the top of your head we could, the school could do with to enhance your program or to make your program that much more viable,
Well, one of the things is like, again, I said before, is like, boil down to administration, it boil down to vision again. But one of the main things is like, we're the only school that is that is actually in the top 5 that don't have a good dormitory. We just have a house of maybe 5 or 6 girls. All the rest of school have about 30 girls boarding. So what we do, some person find it very impossible, and also is that we're the only school that is actually in the top 5. Which from 2019 is like just have 2 coaches, a coach and assistants. Because one of the things is like I have actually coached everybody. I have won a medal at champs in every discipline. 1, 2, 4, long jump, high jump, triple jump, hip deck, javelin, discus, every discipline at champs. 5,000, 3,000, not the 5,000, the 3,000 and 1,500 meter basically. But not many coaches can do that basically, right? So it's like, yes, you find a coach and know all discipline and can coach all discipline. But after a while, it's like, how long can you do that? Because what happens is each discipline need a coach. Each discipline need a coach. Again, it takes a lot of spending. One I think is like Mr. Henry. I have to give a lot of credit to Mr. Henry. I can't remember me just come in and he's like, Mr. Henry turned to me and said, listen, Mr. say you're a boy, I'm around 10. Mr. Henry know the sports now. Before before Mr. the result, he can call me and text me and so it's like one thing about Mr. Henry, loving school. Like he just want to see school progress. Somebody go up on scholarship means Mr. Myers can call the person, give him $100 or give him $200 and understand it. Right? So that's who Mr. Henry is basically. And Mr. Henry moving the football field. And say, Mr. Myers, may I give you the best part because they cannot sprint at high intensity and the field no level. So you give me the best part I feel to the fence, to the grandstand, or what we call it basically. So things like those, it's like you want people who understand the sports and understand. Because one of the things is that we get a lot of equipments already. Because the fact that they have been doing so well is like tourist board and other people we see it and sponsor gym equipment and really equipment now is a problem. It's more like the dormitory is a problem. Need to be widened. And also is the field is when I think that why Rhyme Scott is wearing that bandage is like he was doing an A skip. Anybody knows what an A skip is? And he ringing ankle up on the field. Because the field is now in such a poor condition. It's like unbelievable. It's like and I wonder why. I wonder if it's because of COVID. But it's like I can't see through it. But anyway, it's like but you need proper field for sprinting. You cannot have people sprinting at a high level or running at high level. And there's no proper field and proper and stuff like that. But the past student normally supportive, to be honest. It's like especially the New York chapter, Kenute chapter, they normally supportive. The one I'm overseeing normally supportive is like to our scholarship, is like Kenute give a lot to our scholarship. And Mr. Baker and his crew have done a lot also too. It's like each year go to Pendulum in horse sourcing, send down spikes, sneakers. So it's like so the support is there. The support was always there basically. And I think I'm the chairman, Mr. Clark, kind of passionate. Is I can kind of want to see it grow because he loving school too. And there's some person I'm directly on board. Is like what I'm saying, the support is there. Is just to expand the dormitory, I think.
Yeah, but let me just chime in again because we have some people who are listeners who are actually writing some comments, and I'm going to read some of them here now. And one person by the name of Have Done, I don't know who Have Done is, but Have Done. And interestingly, Have Done is saying that he would like to get in touch with the coach of Brosis because he would like to be a part of the track and field. I don't know what exactly it is, but yeah, so I told him to send us his email, we'll talk and see how it goes. And then Craig Taylor, also listening, says it's a great idea to build talent towards achieving scholarships. And then last and not, there's a Rashid Taylor who says, big coach. So that's Rashid Taylor. So thank the listeners for chiming in. Keep your comments coming in, Yes, Ken, you were saying something.
So, coach, we did boost the team a little bit because we have people like I hope I pronounced her name correct, Celeste Miles from Edwin Allen, who came down to us. She's originally from Westmoreland, right? But
Yes.
she left Edwin Allen and came to us, right?
Yes.
Oh,
I'm an also
And
Devon.
also
Go ahead. Go ahead.
go ahead, Ken.
and also Devontae Haywood from Monroe College. He also came down last year also, right? So
Yes.
we do,
Yes.
but my concern is I want to find out, like you said, there's a lot of star power in the parish of Hanover. I'm talking from experience, and also, in Western Jamaica. What can be done at Rossi's High School to attract more star power? Because since you came to Rossi's, track and field took off under your guidance. So we have the coach. What can be done now to attract more athletes to Rossi's High School?
Well, as I say, it's like it boil back down to finance. It boil back down to getting a bigger coaching staff. It boil back down to dormitory. It's like and one other thing is also is like another person sometimes I look I don't look upon Rossi's as just a Hanover school. Because more than half the population come from Montego Bay. And more than half. And one I think is that when we go Barracks Road and primary and go Connell, the primary in Mobile, is that they have more love for Rossi's than even a child in their parish. We come from maybe a different primary school, not calling those primary school. It's like you them want to come to Rossi's. The Mobile kids, them in a school, most of them want to come to Rossi's. They love Rossi's. So I don't look at Rossi's as a Hanover school. Again, I say more than the kids from Westmoreland, they want to come. So and the kids and the school that is actually doing well is that they actually don't look at their school as their parish school. Where the talent is going to harness it. And then it's like you also by doing that, it's like you're bringing up the talent in their parish too. Because it's like it come like the American college system, where America is a post and track and field. They bring in all the talent through the college system.
From the world.
From the world, and then now it's like and bring up their talent. So it's like so one I think is like I don't want to look upon it as a Hanover thing. That I first thing we have to try to get rid of basically. Like more than half of the population come from Mobile, and I want to keep that in mind first. But it boils back down to again, I said before, support, and vision. You have to have vision. You have to know where you're going. Hats off to Mr. Wright. Like he actually know part of this success is like it was him because like he know where he's going. The girl that named Leona Samuels, that won the shot put. Leona Samuels was leaving school. And it's like I've met Leona Samuels by a workplace one day, and it's like her workplace one day, and she called to me and said, "Sorry, I know you're trying to be the coach and excited." And then by talking, I recognize she's very young and she's very tall, and when I think about shot putter, when I think what I always look for is like I don't like when I'm too much of a heavy person, right? But I like when I'm tall, and I'm like the palm of the hand must be very very long. It's like very very big basically. It's like to grip that ball and it's almost like basketball. That flick of the wrist is like very important. I'm turning to Mr. Wright and say, listen, this girl never took up a shot put in her life, but want a full scholarship in come back to school. That's a vision. And Mr. Wright said, Mr. Wright, give him lunch, give her a lunch, and he also give her a free ride to sixth form. So that vision, because how many persons do that? 2 years after, it's like you see a person go champs and won. So things like that. So it's like it boils back down to vision. It boils back down to, it's like I said before, is like believe in our system, believe in our coach. Is like knowing that is like this is what I want to achieve within 2 years, 3 years. Because one I think is the person that you are going up against, the school that you are going up against, that is how they plan. They make plans to actually want to come top 5, want to win, how many persons to want scholarship. Some of them work it out. It's like we here talking about we want 10 persons to go away. It's like when we talk some person from the other schools, it's like track and field, we call track and field powers, them look on 30 to go away. It's like we look on 10 because them look on them are building passion association, and that's all they care about. So, and them think the more them push off is the more I will return and give back in the years to come. So it take a vision from everybody who understand it basically. And when I think it's like and according to Mr. Henry, it's like sports don't need to be separated. It's like you a one school. Because I can say one thing I'm saying is Mr. Miles, if JC can win football and win track and field, why Brosis can't do it? No difference now. It's like you don't even separate the sports. And so it's like so that one I think to again is like a part of the population, I think some of the population is the pastoring have to get out. So the all sports netball and all of them can survive at one school and end time one duel, all duel.
That's just critical points you're mentioning there, critical points. And what I can glean from what you're saying is that with quality coaching, quality personnel, and with quality programs,
resources,
quality and resources, and the backing and drive of the administrative side of things.
That's the most important.
We can achieve. The sky is the limit, really, right? The issue that you mentioned, for instance, about the establishment of good dormitories is something that we have been talking about on this program every now and again. They need to have, housing or, for want of a better word, dormitories, housing, whatever. Because JC does that.
Yes.
That is almost like apartment complex.
And one I think was like we can look at with JC right now is like look on the national football team and look at most of the kids that is actually in college doing well, and also the kids and most of the young men that is actually doing well in the American League. It's through the same program. So there's one I think and we also some I things that we can boast about. It's like I born in the 80s, so it's like but with Mr. Henry and also Mr. Colin Miller, what they have done in the 80s that is spill over. Is like that's on the World Cup team. You have Aaron Wild Boy, you have Shorty Malcolm. So it's like those are the legacy eventually when they invest in the sports, and the bragging rights,
Critical
it's like and there's many more. It's like many more. So it's an investment and years to come, you'll see.
Yeah. Critical points you mentioned, very critical points. And I like how you have helped to kind of dispel the myth that, he's a footballer, so he must, can't be too bright, or he's a track and field guy, so he can't be too bright. That is the myth that we need to dispel, that we need to destroy left, right, and center. Because once you have the proper programs, and you can back me up here, once you have proper programs and proper nurturing, make the kid feel of worth and show them the talent, expose the talent that they have. Again, the sky's the limit. They can reach to tremendous heights, both on the educational side of things. And
2017, 2018, 2019, 2019, and 2020, the track team or the sports department, I will ever say, have the brightest kids at Brosis that have the highest average. And now Devante Haywood is like, we come from Monroe, have 9 1s. And we talk about chemistry, physics, bio, and admats and those things, and 4 1s in Cape. So I'm still running fast.
I'm still running fast. I'm still running fast.
I want Coach,
I love it. Still running fast.
Coach, and talk about something that you mentioned. And I was there at Brosis High School when that vision started. And I was a part of that vision. As a young man, I was a part of that vision. Colin Miller, appointed me to be the sports coordinator. And our vision was exactly what you're talking about right now. It was no different from what you're talking about right now. And if you go back to Mr. Henry will tell you the same thing. Now, what impresses me most is that I thought we were losing that vision. That's why I got so attracted to you, because I could see the vision, a rebirth of that vision. But what was also disappointing to me is the fact that we only have 2 sports at Brosis High School, 2 major sports at Brosis High School, which is track and field and football, right? So then I got really concerned when I saw that, because the vision was to open up a lot of different avenues to a lot of different sports, right? Now, I'm not, as a result of the resources, of course, we might have to specialize a little bit more now, but I'm still thinking that we can do better than that. you know. And I also want to jump into the myth that John is talking about. And I want to, because I made note of this, that there are people who are being transferred into Rosie's High School who are bringing in a lot of academic quality into the school. And you mentioned Devontae Haywood. He has 9 distinctions in the CSEC examination. He has 5 Cape subject, right? And Miles,
and the Cape is all ones though, all A's.
Right. Yes, all distinctions, 9 distinctions, right? And also Miles, Salisi Miles has 6 SEC passes and 2 K passes. You know, so when people look at it and think that, okay, here go the same thing coming back into Rosie's, where they're trying to create Rosie's into a track and field and football school. No, that's not what it is. And then when you think about it, sports, especially track and field, is an integral part of educational opportunity.
But
as far as Jamaica is concerned, it's a very integral part. And so all stakeholders must envision sports as a channel for scholarship for all the athletes. They must envision that. And this is where they come into the whole system. We can talk about as many resources as we want to talk about, but if the stakeholders do not realize that the importance of, especially track and field, in scholarship as it relates to scholarship in Jamaica, we're not going to get anywhere.
But an important thing that was just also mentioned there is the issue of that we need to, what's the word? We say big up, eh? I want a little bit more than big up. The kids who are doing well academically and who also are doing our sports people, we need to highlight, because I didn't know about this Haywood. You know, this is first now I'm hearing this story. So what I'm saying is that sometimes we miss the boat, you know. We don't do enough to promote our own. Some people might know, you know, but it's not blasted and trumpeted and, you know, heralded all over the place. Because other kids will hear this and say, man get 9-1 and is a track and field star. So it can be done. And again, it helps to kind of, you know, just break down the misconception and that once you're into sport, then you can't do. And yet, the scientific evidence, the scientists have proven that if you have 2 kids, both of them bright, one is involved with sport and music too, mind you, can't leave out music, but they're involved with sport, and the other one is just doing the academics. Chances are the one who is doing this rounded thing and so on ends up brighter, if you want a simple word, brighter than the sedentary type person, because of how your brain and how your body develops and how it evolves. So the scientific evidence is there. So yes, man, this is great. This is great news, man. You know, very, very good news.
And as I said 2018, 2019, and 2020. There's a girl named Monique Stewart. We have 90 average right through. She have the highest average in high school from 7th grade to 8th grade. Like and she went to champ. She made both final. She ranked 3rd in the world last year within her age group. She made national team at 13. And won the thing when they call it HEP, basically they call it age group final basically. So and a lot of bright people has passed through Rosie's, and Akeem, Kali, and a number of them is like you have done, and I have the privilege also to work with. I've worked with the football team, and I've worked with some like the goalkeeper. A couple of them on the 2018 team was very, very bright people. But when I think with some person always do, and like when I think I learn from somebody has teach me this. But some person always they look on it too. That is not doing well. But from I remember I was in a meeting with somebody and the former principal, and the person was complaining about that the trucks person them now go to class and and when I think is like the principal, she said, let me take pen and paper. And he said, Mr. Miles, how many person has done CXC for you? And it's like, I think at the point, let me use last year example, but it's like, some say maybe 11. How many person pass 5 and above? Some say 9. So the principal said, but that's roughly 88%. I'm basically technically school now pass 5 and above. So technically, track team are perform better than the school generally. So sometimes it's because of the 1 and 2. Because when I think is like a lot of teachers, to my time, just because sometimes is that some teachers believe that some person don't deserve so much attention. Yeah. Worse if they're not bright, because a lot of them don't understand that the world just don't reward you for brightness, reward you for if you are good at something, without if you're good at academics or batting or whatever, is that the world I go talk about you, anything at all, basically. So part of it, I said before, when I and the key to sports growing is the administration. We know the board, even if the board is interested, it boils back down to one person, the principal. Yeah. Anytime the principal, it's the division. Everything, because is that the principal have to find a way to bridge staff and also bridge student athlete. Because sometimes it's like it take a bit of understanding and explanation. It's my time. Because one I think is like I can remember when is like I was asking for somebody to repeat. And the person was saying, no, it's like, I want to repeat this year. And the former principal turned to the person and said, but it's like you're preventing the person from getting a scholarship. I don't want to stop. I don't want to stand in the youth way. I don't want to prevent the youth from getting something. Because if you actually repeat and get 1, 2, or 3 subjects and do SAT, it ensures, because based upon his performance, he's bound to go overseas. So again, it boils back down to one person. Again, just like Colin Miller, it's like it boils down to one person.
So we're talking about is really leadership, really.
The principal is like no matter if a chair interested, and it's like and no matter if the board interested, it boils back down to the principal, because the principal is the one who bridge the gap, basically. And study every major sports program in Jamaica, and see who's the person behind it. Is really the principal.
You're absolutely right.
Really the principal. It's like
that. What if, hypothetically, what if we never had Colin Miller's input and vision from back then? I'm just thinking, what would have been where would we be now?
Campbell Donaldson, Wild Boy, Jim Dandy, well, all those persons. And it's like, I hope no Rossi's person did not offend it for me to call him Peasy. So, because we heard him before, so let me apologize. but every time somebody say they refer to him as Colin Peasy Miller, even on the media, so some of them know where him coming from, so I'm not offended though. Let me apologize.
You mentioned something earlier on that's very important. Rossi's was never. I went to Rossi's in the 70s, and when I went there, I would say starting from about 1980 and forward, Rossi's has never been seen as a Hanover school. Rossi's has always been seen as an opportunity school that give opportunities to kids who would not have that opportunity to even attend high school. And like I said, and that was also the vision of Colin Peasy Miller, because he went outside and he got footballers from all over. And it started a little bit before him. It started from Steve Buckner era, which was Miss Magnus. So it started a little bit before, but he came in and actually fueled the whole thing a lot more. Not only did he get footballers, but we reached to the regional finals in netball also, because he went out and recruited netballers from other areas in Western Jamaica also. So that was his vision. He wasn't concerned so much about where the kid was coming from. He was more concerned about what kind of opportunity can we provide and how will they uplift the school itself. Because, what I think, based on what you have said, and I want to point this out, it's very important that school administrators, they must become in love with sports and keep an open mind, because sports promote mental and physical development. And I don't think that education can be defined without mental and physical development. So what we need here, we need administrators who have an open mind, and they need to stop seeing just the traditional aspect of education and merge sports into education. Because when you look at it, how many athletes you say are on scholarship right now, coach?
I'm so close to 30, and
Close to 30. How many?
And we're talking about overseas, and many more is actually in Jamaica.
Okay, and my next question is, how many got scholarship from the traditional academics?
I don't keep that tab, you know. So I don't care.
So right.
And when I think is this, like, don't say athlete alone, because a number of footballers get scholarship. A number of footballers, quite a number of them get scholarship in a recent time.
Well, we can use athletes as a global
I'm using that under the umbrella of athletes also. So the point I'm trying to make is that this is not driven in enough. We need to stop defining education as only just academic development. We need to include everything. The physical, the mental, the spiritual, the social, everything is important. And until we stop seeing that, I have nothing against traditional education, you know, because I went through traditional education, but I was also an athlete, and I was able to get a reduction in my tuition when I was 28 years old and didn't run for like 6 or 7 years. I was still able to get a scholarship coming from Jamaica, which helped me to pay my tuition. So I'm a product of this system, and I see where this system can benefit a single high school like Brosis, have you said over 30 students getting their Division 1 schools too. We got to point that out, that most of the athletes that are coming from Brosis are going to what? Division 1 schools.
Yeah, exactly. Because when I think is that most of them is like would have passed maybe 6 and 7 CXC. So yeah, very brilliant.
Pick up in there, coach. How many of the athletes that went to Kingston are being scouted right now? How many?
Currently is like 9.
And how many went to champs?
12.
Okay, I hope our viewers and listeners are paying attention to this, and I hope they're going to join hands with us and try to promote sport a lot more at Brosis High School, especially the sport that we have going on right now.
You said something earlier, Ken, that I want to elaborate, to speak on a little bit more. And when you mentioned that teachers should love sport, so I want to disagree somewhat on that, although I understand where you're getting. So I'm saying, you know, you don't have to love sport, but what you can do is respect it.
Respect it.
Respect it.
Agree.
Respect it for the value, certainly, that it provides to the individual, and by extension the community, and by extension the entire nation.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking in terms of the promotion of wellness. Jamaica moves in terms of the promotion of fitness and wellness, in terms of even reducing the economic burden posed now by things like diabetes and hypertension and heart disease. In fact, COVID-19, the vast majority of those who succumbed to COVID-19 were people who are suffering from, who had comorbidities.
Exactly.
Hypertension, heart disease, kidney this, kidney that, all kind of things. COVID-19 took them out.
Yeah.
So the word was that, listen, we need to have a healthier society. So I'm saying you don't have to love sport, but appreciate it for what it can contribute to a society, to a person, and respect it. You don't have to love it, but respect it. In fact, you should get involved as well.
Well, when I think is like, there's a lot of teachers that's actually involved. But when I think is that also we have to learn. Some teachers come up on the brighter side and never participate in sports. And it's like, so it's all hard for them to buy into it.
Yeah, right. That's true.
And it was drilled in their mind that is like education is the way to go, which is true. Which is true, but it's like you'll find some youth with just not that bright, and so you have to try to bridge that gap. Basically.
Let me jump in again. I have to jump in again. Brightness is relative.
Yeah, sure.
What you mean? You know, what is bright?
True. That is true. That is true.
No, because you have a person who comes to me and they can do the most remarkable things with their hands. They will create a picture on a wall that I could never dream of doing. You don't do that by accident.
True.
By developing amazing intellectual capacities in a different part of your brain.
That's you, yeah. True.
No, sure. You have an ex-man who will look at a car and can take the car to pieces, put it back up, and it drives.
True.
That is brightness, because I cannot do that.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, the point I'm making here is that we are all ignorant beings, but ignorant on various subjects, if you want to put it that way. We are all ignorant on various subjects, right? So we're all valuable. We all interrelate and we do things, So and our teachers, and that goes back to far, when, as you rightly said, when the teachers used to, the attitude against the sportsman or the sportswoman was one like, lad, and play sports, such a, that they carried.
That's true. That's true.
Nobody with them because they play sport.
Yeah.
Not realizing how much damage you could be doing to the psyche of that kid.
That individual.
So we have to change. That is what we need to change. I think it is changing, mind you. Things have changed dramatically, but maybe we have a little way to go. So Ken, you're saying something.
Coach, I couldn't help but mentioning Lavanya Williams. I couldn't help but mentioning her, as also Alicia, right?
Alicia Shaw.
Alicia Shaw. Okay. Now, for those of our listeners and viewers who do not understand, fully understand the great achievement of these two athletes, by winning the double at champs, that's so hard to do. Very hard to do.
Are you talking about? You're talking about Alia Francis and Lavanya Williams.
Alia Francis, right? Alia Francis. That's what I'm talking about. And Lavanya Williams, right? And Lavanya won the 100 class 3 100 and 200 meters. Now we have to remember that if you follow champs, usually when it comes to from class 4 up, it's usually Edwin Allen. And Brosis was able to go in and stole what? Well, I wouldn't say steal, took 4 important medals that Edwin Allen usually had. Now, my question to you is, this athlete, Lavanya Williams, so young, and I see so much star power in her. How you have to explain to me, how did this come about? Because I've been watching her from Western Championship, and her maturity level as a class 3 is unbelievable. She there was a problem at the start at Western Championship. Did you teach her that whenever there's a problem, you're supposed to walk up to the officials and talk to them about, because she went straight up to the officials, spoke to the officials, and was reinstated. I look at her again, coach, at national championship. I watched her video so far maybe about 15 times. I'm not kidding you. Because like I told you, I'm about evaluating and assessing. She had a very slow start. And how was she able to maintain her composure to patiently go through all her phases and end up being a winner by that margin? You got to explain that to me. Where did this maturity come from at such a young age?
Well, part of it is passion. Lavanya come from Dias. Ali come from Darliston. So Lavanya is a parish girl. And I say you find it. One from the parish, one come with the parish, basically. But a good thing about Lavanya is like Lavanya out at championship, several coaches has called me and said he's the best sprinting farm as female in that championship.
I agree.
I'm talking about reputable coach. I can't quote on that coach. I'm Mr. Mills called me, Glenn Mills. I said, Mr. Mills, that is how you sprint. He said, what? He said, this girl is a gem. All right, he said, that's how you sprint. Upright, she marching. It's like her foot in front of her, basically. is like you as somebody that for your future. Alia would have come in last year. Me about the name Near Robinson after college now, basically. So me bring in Alia as a jumper. But what I always do, I say before, I expose everybody to everything the first 6 weeks to 8 weeks in that program. And then me give her some, me now give everybody some back-to-back 300 meter. Like, maybe it's drag regular pace. But when I see she start keep up with the quarter milers and the distance, I say, but wait, this is not really normal. And Alia, in a couple of months' time, Alia ran 52 last year at the national trials and finished second in the world because she was ranked second in the world last year.
Wow.
It's because the COVID didn't allow her to actually compete. But you would have known. I think she would have won a champs last year. CMA. Although it's just 4 or 5 months of training basically. Because I actually take her from Froome. I always try to scout her from Froome. And it's like she always said, because she quit track and field, she quit track and field at Froome. Because some things like I think she and the coach wasn't getting along. Because I even asked the coach permission, and the coach said, go ahead and take her, man, because it's a problem, child. But sometimes like, but when we do, I ask, what is the problem? Because sometimes me let the problem, child. Because like you, especially when they're stubborn. Because for me, it's like the stubborn child is just a channel that thing. Because when they're determined, I same thing to me. It's like it's the with that stubbornness. So she reaffirmed me and said, Mr. Miles, when we finish CXC, you'll come. Because she's that strong-headed. So it's like I try to scout her from grade 9. And every year I go check her and say, Mr. Miles, when we finish my CXC, I'll come. So again, I said before, it's like nobody she's tough mentally. But with Lavanya, I think is a perfect child to build the program around. She's very young. When I think it's like me think she have a great future in sports. She actually ran faster last year, now.
But the coach, that's what I said to your coach, that I see star power in her. And when you think about the condition at the stadium, one of the things that impressed me the most about her is the fact that she got, I would say she got a poor start. And usually at that age, it rattles the athlete, especially when you're doing 100 meters. For her to still maintain her patient, go through all the phases and end up with our 12.16 or something like that.
Yeah, man. As I said, she actually ran faster last year because she actually ran 11.8 last year, and she broke the record at Western Champs and grass. She broke the record on grass last year. What the hell is going on here? Hello?
Yeah,
I'm back. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm saying that she actually broke the record on grass last year. I'm running 24 flat, basically. And there's a good one there also named Crystal Chambers. We come from Brissett. She finished second at the under 17 trials last year. She just started look a bit late. And we actually beat Lamani a couple of times last year. They are actually the same age. So I'm gonna say like Brosis is a fertile ground. It's just that it's like I'm saying, like just want to look a bit of watering rather than resources or and the seed or grow. So we think it just rely on my administration and also the past students we actually listen.
So we
Let's go.
So we can look forward to maybe the trifecta next year, whereby we win the class 1, I mean the class 3 100, the class 2, and class 1.
Well, those are stuff is like you don't predict because one of the things is like you have to respect your competitors. There are some great girl schools out there, and like what we continue to do, we develop talent, and it's like and every year we normally get couple goal, not the first, maybe the first on the track, but we normally get couple goal. So it's like me confident that they will actually represent the parish and the school well next year.
Couple of persons writing in here. One person, Craig, again touching something that we mentioned earlier about the need to organize dormitories, because he figures that this would be an asset in going forward. He's actually querying whether or not there's any fundraising effort towards the establishment of these dormitories. And I want to say that is exactly what the Brosis Foundation is trying to achieve. The development of facilities at the school, particularly the sport facilities, and the improvement of the facilities so that we can not only have one alia, but 2 or 3 or 4 alias along the line, and not just in track and field, but in other sport as well. So just to answer Craig again, yeah, I think that is in the pipeline that they want to do this, but as you rightly know, it requires funding. The school is what, 200 and how much years old now? It escapes me. I wasn't there at the beginning, but I'm saying the number of students who would have graduated and are out there now working certainly would be thousands of people out there. And if we can harness some amount of support or cooperation from even a fraction of what has left Brosis, we can achieve the limits. Easier said than done, but we're starting somewhere.
True.
Coach, in your opinion, is there any chance that the performance of the athlete as champ will command more attention to sports, including physical education, as a part of the educational development of the student at Brosis High School?
Well, I'm by first year I go Brosis. Somebody in the sports department turned to me, and I call the person name that when I go, is like, what the kids come out? And it's like, he turned to me and said, Mr. Miles, it's like, they're soon gone, man. But it's like, that never happened. It's like, me live to see me and me turn them away by the time. Because if you're not serious, me I tell you, listen, it's just not for you. All right? It's like, because I don't think it is for everybody. Because one I think is like, it's very expensive to run a track program. And I know before, I know before you touch on some things earlier, that Brosis have 2 sports. But when I reason, I can explain to you why Brosis have 2 sports. It is not something I have supported, but is that when I think is like when the track team was rising fast, is that the principal turned to me and said, Mr. Miles, me come on a lot of fire. But is that in order for the track team to move, me actually have to just take away from those sports and give to the track team, because the track team is really moving too fast. Because the track team actually costs, in turn to money, I say track team costs almost the same thing as a football program, a year time for a little bit more. Because one of the things is like, because most of the kids come from outer parish, is like you have to camp them on a Friday evening, feed them, is like leave early for 3 o'clock in the morning, because most of the track meet in Kingston or Central Jamaica. Yeah. And it's like when they and them feed them all day. When they come back, most of them come from inner city Mobile. So you can lift them, you have to carry them back at the school. So my time basically. And sometimes depends how again you have to give them some of them breakfast to basically. Okay. So when I think it's like it's very expensive to run a program. And it's like when I think it's like I said before, it's like we're not short of people coming out. Because when I had disappointment in champ this year, we actually have athletes. We could have easily come back to 5, could have easily win back champs. The team we have basically. Because we have 30 at person at school who have make final at champs, basically in some form or the other, with a 4x1 jumps or something. Because of the budget, we have cut the program this year. Because it's not really COVID alone, it's like because of the budget, because me alone couldn't coach everybody. As like so because of the budget, we have cut to 12 girls and 3 boys and stick to 15. Because the chairman, that's the only that's what I can manage. Because we have a staff of 3. And because I social distancing and all those things. So when I started thinking this year, it's like I know there are some parents very upset because they would have actually have their child stay at home and you know equality a child and they actually don't participate at champs this year, our Western champs. So when I think is like I may say the past student association have to understand that to run sports it takes resources, takes serious resources, and it's cool that you are going up against. Is like is that you are spending. That's the reality of the matter. Is that you are spending big cash to actually let it work. Take for example, I said before, it's like JC. It's like some of those schools tell us it's like they still do look at something CMA even during the pandemic because a scholarship them are pre-CMA, even the footballers them and those things. They was able to put all their athletes 100 on that league basically. Now I'm bubble from December, right? And feed them right through. And we couldn't put 20. So we have to speak to the past student association too, and the support I receive. Say, yes, there are some persons do excellent over years, but we have to find a way, as I said before, to try to see if we can harness more. And I know if Brosis is the one who can make that change. It's like, we have to find if we harness more, because to be honest, there are a lot of good netballers there. Because when I think is a lot of kids when I think it's like a number of kids come from Connell, the Barracks Road, and these are the school that won netball, primary netball every year in Jamaica. And then some of them come back track and field on the high jump, like Lamara Distin and Nia Robinson. Those girls was most valuable player at primary level in netball and cricket and those sports. But again, I said before, it's like it's sports that resources, and we have to understand that's very important. It's like you have to harness all the resources.
Okay, Coach, I don't want to miss the point. I want you to highlight something, because this is the thing that concerns me the most. When I think about Akeem Carley, and when I think about I think about Raheem Scott, and those are two guys that I watch a lot. And to think about the fact that Raheem, just from doing a skip, he sprained his ankle. I want you to give our viewers and listeners a really good idea of what the field condition is like.
When I think, I'm gonna say it's like, I think the field should not have reached there, because I know it takes millions of your time to sand the field and roll the field and stuff like that. And it's like the field is in a terrible condition. It's like its field almost become a common. Like at one point grass grew almost the wayside. So like the idea is like so whoever know what A skip is, Ryan pick up an injury from December, and I know Friday he's going into Kingston to do an MRI that costs almost $70,000. Because
so,
he went
Coach,
because he went a champs and he feel the same ankle basically. And that is what I think prevent him all season from training. And if you know what's an A skip is just skipping. That's just skipping, and a run and a jaggy just skip basically. And I'm saying that the condition I feel now is the worst I have ever seen it basically. It's crack. It's like that feel of sun grass, all of stuff basically. Like if I've been there 7 years, 2014, and I have never seen it like that.
But what could have led to that though? Just wear and tear and weathering, or what?
Maybe somebody was not paying attention, because I said before, it's like a lot of person blame things on COVID. But I just think that if you don't cut the field, it'll become a common. It's simple. If grass and things going on, so you have to cut the field. You have to keep the field cut. If you don't cut your lawn, it's like have that smooth lush. It's like when I best field was 100. I said before, Mr. Henry give me the 100 meter. He move away the football field and put 9 maybe and give me the 100 meter. Because he said, Mr. Myers, I've seen where you have some boys run very fast. And how me understand sports, boy, I can run fast pan hill and go the track. So give me the best part. That part of the field now is like it's like almost when we go training some time, I have to tell the kids them say, there's some sand there. So everybody can take a cone, fill up your sand and walk around and patch in order to train. I say it just never have to be like that, because it just boil back down to like just cut the field. That's it. If you cut the field, it would not have reached that far. And it cost me Rhyme, because we don't know how far the injury is now. And it's like it's a gem. It's like Rhyme is one of the only sprinter from class 1, class 3. We have one at class 3, class 2. And it's like I've never picked up a hamstring injury. Rhyme is going to pro without a major injury. It's like I'm moving on to the next level without a major injury. So it's like it hurts to know that he pick up a ligament injury, and a number of them pick up some other roll in the ankle and stuff like that basically. So it is one of those things. A lot of us blame things on COVID, but we have to remember that there's a life of a COVID, there's years of a COVID, because we will spend millions now to fix the same field. We could just cut the field. So I don't know why he couldn't cut.
That's management then. It's really about management.
I said before, it's like I hope I'm not getting in trouble. Because
but the reality is the reality. The reality is the reality. Regardless.
You have to re-sand and you need to I hear somebody saying that they is supposed to roll. I mean, that can't roll. That have a reason. That have a reason back all over again. Like if that role is like in a 2-3 weeks time, it's like yo, it'll go back to where that come from because it's pathole. You roll a fee when it's like yo, just merely, you understand me? A pathole. Somebody a real pathole talking.
I have to ask you another question. As I'm listening to you, you seem to be so well-rounded in all areas. You know, so I would just like you to tell our viewers and listeners, where did you harness all of this, not just coaching ability, but administrative ability and leadership ability from?
Well, I used to tracks at Mannings, coached by one of yours, Howard Dagati, in the 90s. So I would have learned something from Mr. Dagati also too. I think he attended overseas. You know, Mannings have a powerhouse in the 90s. And I've went away on scholarship. Basically, I finished up at Mega Evers in New York. I returned back home while I was teaching at Froome. I Miss Jennifer Mullins, a pastor, recognized that Mr. Trucks. And he says, take it up. And the first year I take it up, is like, there's a young man named Andre Modi. He's in the state now, making national team, finish 4th at champs. And he's like, yo, he just turned to me and said, are you hurting that man? And he's like, yo, I'm going to spend a year or two at Froome, bring them to top 3, bring them top 10 at champs, walk away from the sports because I think if the support is not them, I am going to walk away because like, it makes no sense. So I've walked away from Froome 2009. I think I was there from 2006, 2009, and take a 2-year break. But one I think I'm gonna learn a lot from is by reading. One I think is like yo, I've studied marketing. I think one of the greatest things is like yo, if something is there already, why reinvent it and make all the mistake? Just go talk to some people. When the first time you come top 5, I sit down and talk to Michael Dyke from Ignorant. I say, what you do? I was like, yo, I've read other sports person, like I'm the person who coach a Patriot and Theory, and you learn from these things. Because like yo, I said before, it's my time I don't need to reinvent the wheel. If I want to do well, just talk to a sports school. Just talk to a sports principal who are a sports person who actually done it already. It's like you don't need to reinvent it. But one of the book will play a very important role in my life. This Britain from LSU was scouting somebody from my camp. And while I was at Froome, I think I was Daniel Tamasto, basically, same show. And he's like, in talk to me, and I say, into me, and he said, Mr. Myers, this is a book me again, Periodization by Bopa. And he said, read it and read it and read it and read it again. And he's like, yo, I recognize that book tell about all sports and all sports philosophy. So you have a wide knowledge basically of what's going on, and that is how I'm able to can coach from me. I've won a medal at champs from 1 to 3 shot put, discuss, help, all of those things, because that same book teach you a lot of stuff basically. So I've done a lot of reading, and like you and by doing that years after you do a course with IWF and those things basically. So it calls say sports find me. I never find it.
When you mentioned a while ago about periodization, you recall when I spoke, one of the first questions I asked you was, you know, how could you have kept the kids in pretty good condition given the ad hoc track and field season with the on and off today, off tomorrow, and tomorrow, COVID-19, we can't train, can't do this, can't. How are you able to keep them going and in condition leading up to champs? And what came to mind when, as you spoke, when I was asking that was the issue of periodization, how to package your thing and structure your thing, with resting and recuperation and training and so on. So that's a critical thing that you have just mentioned here, man. Good thing, good, very good.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Very good.
Yeah, Coach, I read your when I first contacted you, the first thing that drew my attention was what you had posted on your as your profile. It says, "Don't expect success where there is no discipline." All right, that's somebody else's philosophy. What's your philosophy as a coach?
Well, for me, is to help. Just like how sports help me want to help somebody save me. It's just as simple as that. It's like and I think that's what keep me going this year. It's like I said before, it's like just like how the sports helped me grow from a very poor background. It's like first time I've actually heard about college. I was going to Mannings. It's like it was from my HOD, my head of sports, and it's like he turned to me and said, "So Mr. Miles, you finished high school now. What next? Me think me don't learn trade or do something, just like following the footsteps of my father." And he's like, and he said, "No, man, it's like you can get a college offer to GC first to go overseas." So it's like, so me think of life, not that way. The sports has given me an opportunity. Yeah. All right, because track and field is not my favorite sports to watch. I don't really watch track and field. Maybe in both basically. It's like maybe fourth on the list. Football is my favorite sport to watch, period. Because sometimes if I have somebody night, I find it very boring. If I got champs, sometimes I can't tell who this person, unless I have somebody I compete with the person, basically. Because track and field has give back to me, basically. It's like a sport has give back to me. It's like I just believe it must give back to others in the same.
Yeah, well stated. Or with time, Ken.
Any more questions? Any more questions before we close, John?
I'll check. Well, someone asks again about what about sponsorship from organizations around Hanover and St. James, places like Grand Palladium, Dolphin Cove, Trial, and others providing some kind of support towards track and field and football. Sorry?
That would have to come through the administrators, though. I don't think that's a coach's responsibility. The coach's responsibility.
I think we're talking generally here.
Through the administrators, and that's a good question. I'm glad the person asked that question because, again, coach, this is a huge accomplishment for the athletes at Brosis High School and in Western Jamaica. I think it would be a mistake, right, if the key players and administrators don't build on this momentum that you have created. I think it would be a huge mistake. And expanding the sports in the school, not just football and track and field, but also any other area that is affordable, right? True. Like you mentioned, football. For all of those who love Brosis, this would definitely be a concern of everybody. It is a concern of mine, and I did not attend Brosis High School because you and I, coach, share some of the same belief and characteristics. And I can assure you that Mr. Miller shares some of the same characteristics and belief. And Mr. Henry also shares some of the same characteristics and belief. Because I work with those guys, so I can tell you about those guys. We believe in giving back, even when we don't have much to give.
Yeah,
right?
Mr. Henry is passionate.
Yeah, my concern now is, what can the administration do to put success ahead of payroll, right? And I hope you get me right. Put success ahead of, because we see progress. So right now we have to put progress ahead of payroll. So we have to find a way to keep you at Brosis High School.
Well, it's like the main thing is, like I said before, is like look upon the thing as a product. There's a countless of sponsors out there, but you have to sell it to them as a product. And you have to believe in that product first, too. So, it's like, for example, it's like the first time Homewood get a sponsor was through Anisha McLaughlin. You have Lavanya Williams. We have money short and I pass. It's like we have transfer gone to Eddie Allen. It's like you have talented person. You have to look on it and package it. Sometimes it must happen in that first year, but you have to keep at them because a lot of these schools that is doing well is that they actually have a gear sponsor like for a Puma, for Adidas, and Nike, or those things. But you have to put it in a package the sports. And like Sportz is one of the school now from this region who was freshly brought on some gear sponsor, and you're a school that is actually doing less than us at champs, but they actually have gear sponsor. But again, I said before, the administrator and the person who's in charge, so you're somebody, package the sports, go to those persons and sell it and tell their vision. So come back to the first thing. Just like how Colin Miller have a vision, you have a principal that is there now is like and you have to come from the principal, not the board alone. It's like she have to package it and put it as a vision. Say, this is what I want in 5 years. This is what I want in 3 years. Outline it, and it can't come from the coach or again, the board. At the board, it must come from the administration from within, because they actually don't want to see that from the administration from within, basically. So, and if I get a gear sponsor, most of your things, most of your problem answer, because gears alone are running roughly around, in magnitude of Brosis, gears are running roughly around 700,000, 800,000. And plus, some of the time the gear sponsor will pay the coach. So I may say, as somebody have to just get up, package it, and just like our home would package their thing back in the days, then get Grace on board to feed the athlete them. So somebody have to package it, basically. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, coach. So, so coach, we are appealing to the administrators. We're appealing to them to, put some thought into this. Don't just keep the title. Let's exercise the title that you have. Show how forceful it can be as administrators. I just want to know, to the administrators, where do we go from here? We have seen a lot of progress that we can build on. Where do we go from here? That's my question.
Well, let me jump in quickly before Coach answers, because I hear you say that you emphasize the role of the administrators. But I want to expand on that to say it's administrators, yes, but it's a collaborative mission.
Effort, yeah, I agree.
Between those persons who, what we call past students, between the so-called sponsors like the business fraternity.
Yeah. True, yes, true.
And the school community itself, which includes the principal and so on. So we need that person or that entity that will bring that all together in a productive way. So it's not just to say, all right, the principal is, he's into it, but the principal alone, that is just mere. But
an important thing you have to understand with the principal, basically. That is like she's the one who have to believe it, because she's the one who's gonna sell it, and she's the one who's gonna draw all the forces them, because everybody will speak through the principal, basically. And I said before, it's like just think about it. All the great schools them that is actually in sports to, and I pass, it boiled back down to Ben Francis was a principal of Veer when Veer was doing well. Miller, like it boiled back down to that. That it come back down to. It's like
that is absolutely true.
Because again, if a chairman is built around the chairman is not gonna be at school on a daily basis. The principal is the only person who have connection to the coach, to his staff, to the board, to sponsor. Everything will come through the principal. So the key of every successful sports program has to be principal.
Yeah, and I said the principal is gonna function as the pivotal point and the leader.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I want to. That's the right word. Good.
Yeah, but the critical need for this.
Everybody.
Yes, man. Yes.
Everybody have involved.
But the insight, the principal's insight, is key for all of this. Yeah, we have to agree that there's no denying that.
True.
But it's gonna take a lot of effort, but can be done, and I'm glad that you have that kind of persuasion in terms of that it can be done in a better way and a more productive way. And what we also need to sell is that the success of any sport program, be it football or track and field, will also redound to the benefit of the entire school, in fact the entire community.
Yeah, man, that's true. Yeah, man.
When you have a Rossi playing at Connell College, for instance, the road blocking up.
Yeah, man. True.
The place sell off.
True. That's true.
Yes, man. So we have to sell it from that point. Sport now is a business, right? Sport is now a business. It's not just a pastime now. It's a business that if the school is fit, but look at I love to use JC as a classic example. They have constructed a mini stadium at their place with lights,
yes,
and parking and seating,
And rounded program, cricket, track and field, football,
you know that
everything.
Right now, already, colleges and schools and so on in America were already, it's just a COVID thing, mash up things, already signing up to come to Jamaica to train and to mingle and do because of the track, because of the field, you know.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I'm not joking.
Yeah, joking. It's a product. We have to look upon it as a
yes, as a product that we exactly so, sir. Exactly.
Yes.
A new paradigm, a new thinking beyond just a pastime, but product.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Always stay with time.
One thing before I go, because as I said before, build it around Lavanya Williams. If you build it around and Crystal Chambers, those two girls can be big factors years to come. They are the young star power basically in champs.
But you know, you see it again. We have to learn how to, and this is why America is great at this, you know. We have to learn. You see that those people you mentioned, I didn't know them prior to this, you know. I didn't know them much. But what I'm saying is that we have to learn how to package these excellence. We have to package excellence and promote it. We are not so good at that.
True.
And I'm talking about from way back when. Look at what's his name, the mayor, the current mayor of the Lucy. He was an excellent athlete, you know, rounded, you know. And any sport that he attended, he would have been great at it, right? We had many people passing through who were great in their own way, but nobody knew. They weren't packaged, they weren't promoted, they weren't advertised, nobody knew. So I'm saying now, let us start to move now in terms of the names that you just called, the alias and the, I made some notes here, but let us package them, package them. And say, and not only package them for the world, you know, but even for the school body, the school community itself, the Lucy community, the Hanover community itself. Package it. So that is a thing. I'm glad you mentioned this, and I'm going to throw it to the Brosis people to kind of.
I couldn't help but mentioning Lavanya because I focus on sports, especially track and field.
Young star, yeah, man.
When I saw her, I was impressed. I was totally impressed. And just this morning, I learned that even anybody who don't know this person I'm going to mention, you're not a Jamaican. Even Shelley and Fraser Price, I heard that she made mention about Lavanya, how well she executed her race.
Yeah, man.
Well, the commentator during Shams, Sharon Simpson, was it?
Yes, Sharon Simpson.
She was so impressed. She was like, you know, she was impressed with what she saw, and she was on like, whoa, you know. But so yeah, it's good things, man.
Coach, for us, I just have to let the listeners and viewers know that you took time off. You're now in Puerto Rico, and you took time off to come and join us. So we really appreciate that. And you know, I brought you on because I wanted you to be able to tell your story. And I thought that this was the opportune time. And I'm calling on all individuals who say that you love Brosis High School to rally with us so that we can make the sports program at Brosis High School a success. It's already a success so that we can take it to the next level because the coach is doing an outstanding job. Don't say that you love Brosis High School. We don't care how few you might be, but we want us all to rally together to ensure that we get the program moving in the same direction that it's moving in, inside and outside of Jamaica, because the program is growing inside and outside of Jamaica. What better thing for us to be able to build on? So let's join hands and heart together and support Coach Miles so that the program can get even much bigger. Anything you want to add, John?
Yeah, well, just on a more personal note, and I certainly want to thank the coach for his dedication and his commitment and his belief. That's important, you know. Belief in your charges, the kids who are under your charge. You know, I want to appreciate that, and I really love that. But on a more personal note, I want to say to you that I want to communicate with you in terms of the injuries that you mentioned that the kids would have sustained, a couple of them. I want to kind of discuss that on a more personal note with you from my own perspective. but maybe by way of WhatsApp or something like that. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, no problem.
But so I want to thank you again for being on the program, man. It was a delight speaking to you, know. So yeah, that's great.
And thanks to all our viewers and listeners. We want you to remember to like, share, and subscribe. And you can still sending some comments if you have any comments. Coach, thanks again. And we'll be staying in touch. We have a lot of work to do.
Thanks again, Casey and JC.
The real Casey, the real JC.
Thanks again, sir.
Coach, I guess we have to change it to JCKC now, right?
Yeah.
Whichever comes first, eh?
All right, cool.
All right, sir. Take care. All the best.
All right, take care, Coach. Thank you so much.
Ciao.
Bye, everybody.
We're off.